In this JavaScript tutorial, we will demonstrate how to render year select lists using one line instead of many lines. We will render the options in a simple loop since years are numeric and incremental. Let's start with the bibbidi bare bones of an HTML5 web document, and inside the body element, I'm going to add my select element. Make sure we go down a couple of lines and close that select element. Now, select elements are drop-down lists that you use in your forms. So the first thing I'll do is give it an ID that's equal to year, and I'll also give it a name attribute of year. Now normally in a statically programmed year select list, you'll see it set up like this, with maybe up to 100 or more of these year options. What we'll do is render these dynamically, these values for these numbers. That way we can use one line instead of 100. So let's open up a script element here. Make sure we go down a couple of lines and close that script element. Now what we want inside of the script element is a for loop, a very simple for loop. So we say for, open close parentheses, open a curly brace, and go down a couple of lines and put in the closing curly brace. Now there's three parameters that we have to put in for a for loop. We have to establish the variable, so we say var I is equal to the year that you want to start at, say 1900. So that's the first parameter, is the incremental variable. And usually you'll see that start at something like 0 in loops. But since we have a specific need, we're going to start that at 1900. Then we put semicolon, and we're going to add the second parameter, which is an evaluation to see if I is less than 2013. And if it is, this loop will continue to run. And then the third parameter is I++, which increments the I variable. So loops are set up to keep incrementing as long as the condition meets true. So when this loop first runs the first time, I is going to be equal to 1900. So of course the loop is going to continue to run until I reaches 2013. So that's how many times this loop will run. So the last thing we do inside of our loop is we want to write all of the option elements. So we say document.write, open close parentheses, and semicolon. And in between the parentheses is where we write the option element. So we'll put single quotes, we'll encapsulate it in single quotes. That way we can have double quotes inside of the element. So we just open an option element and we make its value equal to, let's just leave that blank for now. Then we close that option element, and for the inner HTML is where we put the value for the number that we want, which is going to be I. And it's going to start at 1900. So all we have to do is concatenate into this string by placing single quote, and inside your single quotes put in plus sign, and between your plus signs just put in I. Now what that does is concatenates the I variable into your string just as if it was written there. So you can also copy that and put it here in the value. Press Ctrl S. So if we run this in our favorite browser, you can see our select list goes all the way from 1900 to 2000, which should go to 2013. So let's fix that. You can just basically turn this to 2014, and now it will reach 2013. And here's another little tip. Could actually render the year, the current year, dynamically in JavaScript right here. So you wouldn't have to actually write in the year. You can dynamically get the year to render there, and then you would never have to touch this script again. So when 2020 comes, this script will say 2020 right here. So as a programmer, you can die, and then at 2050 this script will still be running the way it's supposed to, allowing people to pick current years. So that's just another little tip. If you don't want to have that number static in there like I do, written as 2014, you can have JavaScript render a date variable there for the current year, whatever year it is currently. Okay, so that shows you how to write it in one line instead of using 100 lines, or however many year options you're going to give the user.